What's up, YouTube? All my comic people, Batcave Comics, back again to do another video. My second 2018 video, which I already did and posted and started getting views and then accidentally erased it. So, I'm reshooting it. Before I get into that, I do have a bunch of shout outs that are way overdue. Subs that have subbed me up the past couple weeks. I just want to say thanks a ton. I really appreciate all my new subs, and I've definitely gone and subbed all you guys back. So let me get started with these shout outs. And the first one is E&R Collectors, the Go-To Geeks, All About Comics, The Walking Jedi, Comic Quest, Amazing Murfinator 1028, A Poor Man's Comics, DS Comics, Beauty Comics, Blast It or Slash It, Marvel Meddlings, Spectacular Spider Grandpa, Biggie's Comics, Gills 311, Comic Book Hero, Triple C, Big Melly 19, The 88 Jester, and Symphonic Elk. Once again, thanks a ton to all you guys who have visited my channel, watched my videos, and subbed me up. Really appreciate it. Now, to start my video, I picked up some books from Goodwill, my local LCS, and eBay. And I'm going to start off with 4 books I picked up from Goodwill. First one here is Grifter number 2, which I really like this character a lot. I definitely love the way he looks and the way they draw him. And this was done by Ryan Benjamin. And I don't have a ton of grifters. I think I have number 1 and then a few others here and there. But I found this at Goodwill for $2. And I thought it was a pretty decent buy. I mean, you could get these cheap. But the condition's really nice. So, for $2, why not? Then the second book I picked up from Goodwill is Judge Dredd number 2. Let me put that one over there. And this cover was done by Michael Avon Owing. Tough to pronounce the last name. But if you know who I'm talking about, I probably mutilated it. But this 1994 series, I don't really see a whole lot. But then again, I really hadn't been looking for it. I definitely want to get number 1. I've seen a few. Some of them are a little pricey. I just haven't found the condition for the price I want to pay for it yet. But that will definitely eventually come. Typical 90s art, kind of square box, but like I said, these I really don't see a lot. And I probably might not even noticed it unless, you know, except for I seen it on Goodwill. So the third book I picked up, Azrael's Death's Dark Knight number 1. And this is the first issue in the 3-part miniseries. Fraser Irving did this cover, which I thought, you know, it's a pretty good cover, pretty good art. But the writer is Fabian Nicieza, which is the co-creator of Deadpool. So I thought that was kind of significant, so might as well pick it up for $2, right? Then the last book I picked up at Goodwill is Lobo number 9. And I thought this cover was super sharp. Val Samix did this cover. And I know they've had similar covers to this. I'm not too sure which series it was. I want to say Amazing Spider-Man had a cover similar to this and a few others. But I thought it was super sharp. I've never seen it before. So I had to have it. So that's the last book I picked up at Goodwill. Now I have a small stack of books here I picked up from my LCS. The first one I'm going to show is Avengers number 5, which I thought this was a super sharp cover. Not too sure if there's anything significant about this, but I really like how they drew it. It really looks sharp, so I had to pick it up. Now the next one I picked up is kind of a minor key that possibly can turn into a major key. And that is Groot number 4, the first appearance of Baby Groot. It's just a cameo, but it's a first appearance. And this LCS I go to, I'm not subbed there. I used to have a subscription there, but no longer. And this place gets wiped out because it's the only one in this area. It's a fairly nice LCS. So if you don't get there on Wednesday, by Friday, the pickings are extremely thin. And I was super surprised to find this book still on the shelf. Even though this came out a little while ago, I was still surprised at it. You know, they still had a copy of it. And then the next one I picked up, All New Wolverine number 28. Now the word going around, this is when Gabby gets her name Honey Badger. That could be significant, so I picked it up. They had a few of them. Might as well grab 2. You never know when that's going to get super hot. So then the next book I picked up was Thor number 20. Really cool cover. First appearance of Thor, War Thor. And they also did this. It's a homage from 337. But they also did another cover in the Thor series just like this, which is 451. And that's the first appearance of Blood Axe. So if any of you guys are interested, that's a book you might want to hunt out. You never know when that character will get hot. All right. What do we got next? So the next book I picked up are some variants. Green Lanterns number 30. Excuse me. Brandon Peterson did this cover. Super sharp cover. I don't really collect a whole lot of Green Lanterns, but I thought this one was really cool. So I picked it up. Like I say, I'm not too sure if there's any significance with this book. If there is, shoot me a comment. Catch me up on all the information. I don't really buy a ton of new books. I concentrate more on... I really like the Bronze Age, so I buy a lot of Bronze Age. Pick up Silver Age from time to time when I can afford it. I get a little picky when it comes to condition. Obviously, I can't afford 9/8 in Silver Age. So I pick up the best condition ones I can find. So the next book I have is another variant, which is Detective Comics 963. And sorry about the price tag there. Oh, what I did want to mention is if you see these price tags, $2.99. So they're not marked up a bunch either. I thought this was a super sharp cover. Has Anarchy's sign on it with the Batman. Not too sure who did this. Well, I know who did this cover. I just can't pronounce his name. So I'm not even going to try. But I thought it was really cool, so I picked it up. And the next book I grabbed is another detective. $9.53. Another variant, another really cool cover. I've seen it on videos. People have been talking about this comic, so I saw it at the LCS, wanted to pick it up just in case it was one of those that got really hot. All right, the next book, Deadpool versus Punisher, number 5. Super, super sharp cover. Had to have it. This one here, I'm not too sure who did the cover either. But I thought just the symbol on there and the way that they did it was super cool. So, and I collect a lot on cover art. If the art's super cool, I pick it up, no matter if I read the book or not. So the next one's another variant, Bloodshot Salvation, number 2. Now I know they had, a handful of different variants for this issue, but I thought this one was the most interesting one. I think it was the only one that actually was kind of more adult, with the blood, and it attracted me more than the other ones, so I picked it up. And that one was still cover price, $3.99. Now the next book was a little bit more, and this was the retail incentive. Shadow, Batman, number 1. This one was $6, so it was marked up, but not a whole bunch. And I really typically don't buy the sketch variants. I was buying a ton of them probably a few years ago, and I don't know. I kind of got a little burnt on them. I'd rather have the color copies. For me, I think they look better. But if you don't, if you like to, the sketch variants, that's perfectly fine too. That's just my opinion. And then I picked up G.I. Joe 246, another variant, which I thought was super cool. I think they have like 5 different variants of this issue, possibly more. And there's a few others that I really, really want to get that I think are really cool. I know this is a first appearance. I think Spidey fans sent me a message on the previous video I erased to let me know the first appearance of this, and I already forgot. But this had a $3.99 price tag, and for some reason, if it sits on the shelf for a certain amount of time, this comic shop will mark it down. So I actually got this book at 50% off that, so I picked it up for $2. So I wasn't going to pass it up. And by the way, this was the only one of 246 they had left. All the other 246s were gone. So I was pretty surprised I even found this one. Now the next one's been all over eBay, YouTube. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it. Supergirl 16, art germ cover, super sharp. Was super surprised this was still on the shelf. And the funny thing about it is when I picked this book, I was going through the Supergirls, maybe to find this. I really wasn't expecting to. And there it was. One copy. I grabbed it. As soon as I put it in my stack, another gentleman walked through the door, went straight to the Supergirls, and thumbed through them about 10 times. There was maybe 15 books on the wall there where they stack them. And I know he was looking for this book because he kept going through it and through it and through it, thinking he might have missed it, but he didn't miss it. It was already taken, and I wasn't putting it back. All right. So the next book I picked up was Wonder Woman 11. Jenny Frison. What else can you say? Just outstanding art. Her artwork is incredible. I mean, that is just super stunning. I wasn't leaving this one behind. They had more copies of it. I just picked one up. They did have a few issues of some, I think some earlier issues that possibly she did that I might go back and pick up. But this one here, I couldn't leave. Had to get it. So that's all the books I picked up at my LCS. And now I picked up 2 books from eBay. And the first one I'm going to show is Incredible Hulk 144. Hulk versus Doctor Doom. This era of books I absolutely love. I collect more of these, or try to collect more of this age and this era than anything else. I love when they have major superhero versus major superhero on a cover, or major superhero versus major villain like this one here. The guy wanted $29, which it isn't a bad price for this book for this condition, because it's actually in pretty good condition. He did have best offer on it, so I offered him $20 and he accepted it. I mean, I sell on eBay too. I mean, if you can see the condition of this, it's pretty nice. There's no really major defects with it. I mean, it's a pretty sharp looking book. But when I make offers to people, of course, everybody wants to get the book as cheap as they can. Obviously, I also do. But I also don't want to, how should I say, offend the seller, because I know what it feels like when I have a book on sale and let's say I want $20 for it and I get offered $8 or $5. I'm like, really, dude, you're gonna waste my time with that offer? So when I make an offer, I do try to at least make a decent offer, so they would look at it and consider, hey, maybe this guy's a little really interested in the book. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find out they'll accept that offer. If it's not a half price offer, if you go, I'd say 3/4 of the price, I have found out most of the time on a book like this, they will accept that offer. And I've bought a ton of books like that. Some of them I've bought even cheaper. All right, now the next book I have, it's becoming a major key. I'm not going to say major key, but it's definitely becoming a major key. And that is Punisher #1 from the miniseries. Now, I did purchase this whole miniseries when it very first came out, cover price, from like a little neighborhood grocery store. They had a comic rack in there. And, oh, I'm sorry. I bought this at the comic shop. I bought these series at the comic shop. Got confused there. It's getting past my bedtime, ladies and gentlemen. But I've read them, kind of tossed them around. At that time in my collecting, I really wasn't, let's say, taking the best care of my comics. it was still a time when I was younger and didn't really expect a lot of the comics that I owned become worth money. That never even occurred to me until I got older and realized, hey, some of these are becoming valuable. So then I started taking, you know, a lot better care of them. Really don't even like to read a lot of them. Usually, if I read a series, it's not the original comic. I'll wait until a trade paperback comes out and I'll pick that up, then read it. But to get with the Punisher, to get back to the Punisher #1, the original copy that I had bought and I had sent to CGC years ago, maybe 5 years ago, could have been longer, but I received a grade of 9.0, and I was actually surprised it got a 9.0 from the punishment it had taken over the years and still had survived in good enough to get condition to receive a 9.0. But now that I'm older, I wasn't satisfied with that. So I sold it. And I sold it because I want a book that I want a 9.8. The only problem with this, if you buy it at a 9.8 right now, they want over $1,000 for this book, or pretty damn close. And I'm like, are you kidding me? For a Punisher #1? Really? But hey, this book for some reason is really shot up way up in value. And of course, that's a balance of the grade also. But I picked this one up for $51 actually, which is cheaper than what I sold my 9.0. And this baby is beautiful. I'm trying to get it in the light just right. But I mean, the spine isn't even flattened out like how when it sits in a comic box or sits in a stack of comics. There is not one blemish on this book. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. The guy said it was high grade. I looked at it as best as I could on the computer, which can be deceiving at times. But I gotta say, I was surprised. When I got this thing, I did not expect it to be this high of grade. I would be extremely shocked if this doesn't hit a 9.8. I'm definitely getting this signed and then graded. I'm not too sure if I want to have it pressed because it's in such nice shape. And sometimes, believe it or not, pressing can damage a book. I know I haven't heard a whole lot about that from a bunch of YouTube channels because pressing is to basically remove defects to get a higher grade. But on the flip side of that, you're also taking a excuse me, a small gamble because your books can get damaged by being pressed. So this is one of them books that is kind of a flip of a coin. Before I make that decision, I'm definitely gonna scour it inside and out, back and forth, all over to make sure it does not need a pressing because I want the highest grade on this book I can get. This is one of them covers that I absolutely loved growing up, and I still do. So, I can't remember who did this cover. Off the top of my head, I think it was either John Betty or Mike Grill. I think it was John Betty who did this. Wait, there's a name down here. What's that say? I can't read it. I don't know. If anybody knows, shoot me a comment down in the comment section. So anyway, I don't want to drag this on any longer. I really appreciate all you guys coming to check out my channel. Please hit the thumbs up. Please sub me up. I'll definitely sub you on the back side of that. Thanks again. Keep making them videos. I'll keep watching.